Hey, what's going on, Instantly Group? It's Reese. Yesterday, I made a post about some of the breakthroughs I'm seeing with AI. And I think, there's this huge open frontier when it comes to AI in outreach. But for me, at least, these last couple of months, it's been really hard to capture that potential, especially with what we're doing here with cold emailing. And so in this video, embarrassingly, this strategy that I'm going to show you took me months to finally figure out. The hardest part was taking the good data that you can build the rest of the prompts off. And I think that's where you guys had the most questions and you're like, Reese, I'm going to need your prompts. So that's why I'm here. Before I dive in, I want to be extremely clear that when myself or a lot of other people are posting these really great results in a Facebook group like this, there's a lot more that's going into it on a fundamental level versus a slick or a cool tactic. And I want to be the first to tell you in this tutorial, I am going to show you a slick tactic, but you're going to need to have the foundation for this to really work. The more you see me sort of work my magic, you'll notice that the AI is really only the icing on the cake and not the whole strategy itself. I always start each outreach campaign with a Catalyst database where those prospects are active. And from there, I'll take the quadrants of that Catalyst database and break it down into micro segments so my messaging is hyper targeted. Once you have that, you'll want to test your copy all the way from feedback to offer concept. And lucky for us, all of that has already been done. Starting with the avatar notes, we're going to make this out to our leads team to go gather these SaaS startup founders who have spoken on this podcast. And we're going to be gathering the title of the podcast interview as well as a title summary, which will be summarized with the GPT. I'm going to show you this really quick just as a add-on. We're going to want to fire up the GPT for Sheets and Docs. If you don't know how to do this, check it out online. It's a really cool tool. And basically what I'll be doing here is showing you real quick, you can use a column and then you want to put it in parentheses. And this, for example, this is a podcast title about what did the speaker talk about? And you'll go ahead and cap it there and you hit enter. And just like any other formula, it works. You could mess around a long time there, but what I'm going to do here is pop open my copy doc where I'm going to be working on my copy template. And I'm going to be writing this email very specifically to one type of person. Like I mentioned, we already know some of the challenges and pain points, which I found from a friend here on Slack who sent me some inside information for this. You can use my line by line here to make a template if you'd like, but essentially what you're doing is you're actually going to write to this person and you're going to finish the email. So it looks like this. It should read just like a one-to-one email because what you're going to do next, if you guessed it, is we're going to head right into ChatGPT and we're going to say, hey, I'm writing this email to compliment tech founders. And this is sort of where you're going to reverse engineer what you've written directly as a one-by-one. So here's the information that's actually the podcast title, but here's what I've wrote is an introduction to the speaker is, fill in the blank. And this is where we can say, hey, we're going to be using GPT Turbo, and it'll give us a whole bunch of information here, and it'll really kind of evaluate what we've just said. And by the end of this is all just really good information, which is sort of feeding itself if you know how ChatGPT prompts work. And we're going to say, thank you for breaking this down. Please give me the specific prompts for each step of breaking this down. And so that's where this is basically going to give us about 5 or 6 different prompts here, which I can then use as columns. And I'm just going to copy them right in. And this works really, really well because it knows itself better than I can know how to give this thing prompts. And so essentially what it's doing is it's taking a very sloped approach, meaning that it's going to go from achievements to key achievements and then work its way to become more and more narrow rather than going to something that's really, really steep and just writing the entire line with one. And then we're going to break it down from key achievements to a couple other things, which we'll talk about a little bit later. So you can basically see here, I did another one called About the Podcast. And then right now I'm going to work on one that ChatGPT did not give me. So I'm going to have to write this one up manually. I'm going to use the key achievements. So these are the key achievements that the founder has accomplished. Again, I'm using the K2 line just because that's on my same line item and I'm creating a new column here. And I'm basically asking, hey, from the perspective of the world's best mentor, what's one possible pain point hitting these goals could cause as a byproduct? I'm gonna go ahead and I'll put quotes around that and cap it. And I'm gonna go ahead and just stretch this out. I do this every single time. So I can say, okay, I don't know if I really like these at all. And so what I'll do then is I'll double tap and I'll go ahead and basically adjust the prompt to see if I can get it a little bit closer. And so what I'm going to change here is I'm going to add some rules. Rules are really important when you're developing these prompts. So rule, tie in the milestone that they have hit. And then I'm also going to have a rule of mention it as being that you've hit X, there's a world where blank. And then another rule is to make it under 30 words. Being that you've hit 1.3 million ARR, there's a world where the company is maybe struggling with scaling the team to meet the demands of 1,400 customers. That's a great pain point, and it ties in, so we're sounding very conversational now. So if you ever have any trouble, based on these title interviews, you can always use rules, and you'll kind of see how my table is now getting filled out, and all I have to do is drag these prompts down, and it'll basically fill in the whole rest of the table. Now, I've given you a lot of the basics here, so hopefully this has helped you out a ton. You can keep building these and have a whole bunch of custom prompts. If you'd like all my most recent prompts, I can give you those as well. But I figured, hey, why not give you the exact way that I'm thinking about building them, and you can build these out for yourself. And so you have your own custom prompts for each outreach campaign. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.